Silvana and the Starlight Web. Once upon a time, in a forest where the mushrooms glowed like lanterns and dewdrops held tiny rainbows, there lived a fairy named Silvana. Silvana had wings the color of a peacock's tail, shimmering green and blue and violet, and she could do something no other fairy could. Wherever she flew, she left a trail of golden sparks that lingered in the air for hours, like a personal constellation. But for all her beauty, Silvana was terribly alone. "Why would I need friends?" she told the old oak tree one morning, admiring her glittering trail in the still water of the pond. "I have my magic, I have my sparks, I have myself." The old oak said nothing, as old oaks tend to do, but his leaves rustled in a way that sounded almost like a sigh. One evening, a great storm rolled in from the northern mountains. Thunder cracked like a giant's knuckles, and the rain fell so hard that every flower in the forest bowed its head to the ground. Silvana tucked herself into a hollow beneath a mossy stone and waited. But deep in the storm, she heard something, a small broken sound, crying. She followed the sound through the rain until she found a young hedgehog named Pip, curled into a ball beneath a collapsing leaf pile, his spines trembling. "My home," he sniffled. The storm took it. Silvana hovered awkwardly in the rain. She had never actually spoken to a hedgehog before. "Well," she said stiffly, "I suppose you can shelter under my stone, just for tonight." That night, Pip told her about the berry patches he knew, secret ones, fat with sweetness, hidden so well that even the birds hadn't found them. He told her about the sounds the forest made just before dawn, a kind of humming that you could only hear if you pressed your ear to the earth. He laughed easily, and when he laughed, Silvana found, to her great surprise, that her own lips kept curving upward. In the morning, she helped him build a new home, weaving sticks together with threads of her golden magic until it held firm. "You didn't have to do that," said Pip softly. "No," Silvana agreed. "I wanted to." Word spread through the forest, gently, the way forest news does. A firefly named Luma found Silvana one twilight and asked, shyly, if they might fly together. Luma's light was steady and white, and when it mixed with Silvana's gold sparks, the two of them painted the darkest corners of the wood with something that looked like pure wonder. A small fox kit named Rue began leaving gifts outside the mossy stone, a smooth pebble, a daisy, once a particularly impressive beetle. Silvana left her own gifts in return, a tiny knot of golden light tied to a twig, a feather she'd woven into a bow. Without quite meaning to, Silvana had gathered around her a world of creatures who simply liked her. But the real lesson came on the night of the winter cold snap, when Silvana fell ill. Her wings went dull. Her sparks sputtered out like wet matches. She lay in the hollow of the mossy stone and felt, for the first time in her life, truly afraid. Not of the cold, but of the darkness inside herself, the one that came when her magic went quiet and there was nothing left to admire. "Who am I?" she thought miserably, "without my sparks?" Then she heard a scratching at the stone's edge. It was Pip with a bundle of dry grass and warm berries. Behind him came Luma, whose steady light filled the hollow with a soft, warm glow. And behind Luma came Rue, who curled up at Silvana's feet like a small amber flame. Nobody performed magic. Nobody said anything particularly wise. They just stayed. When the cold lifted 3 days later and Silvana's wings began to shimmer again, she flew in slow circles above her friends, leaving golden trails that looped and crossed until the whole clearing was laced with light. But the light felt different now, not like a mirror she held up to herself, but like something she was giving. "What changed?" Pip asked, watching her. Silvana landed beside him and thought for a long moment. "I used to make sparks so I could see myself," she said. "Now I make them so you can see your way home." The old oak rustled his leaves. This time it did not sound like a sigh. It sounded like applause, and in the forest, where the mushrooms glowed like lanterns and dewdrops held tiny rainbows, the fairy Silvana flew on, her wings as brilliant as ever, her trail of gold still lingering in the air. But now, when you looked closely, you could see that the sparks didn't fade alone. They drifted toward a small, warm light, a tiny, steady glow, a tuft of amber fur at the forest edge. They drifted, always, toward her friends. The end.